All right, welcome everyone. I'm Justin Ashby, VP of Marketing at Best Company, and this is the Best Company podcast where we talk to business owners and operators and marketing professionals in a number of fields, specifically home services, part of everyday life insurance. So we're so glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
Yeah, Chelsea's got a fantastic background. So her career started building a loyal community around a brand, and she's had a couple different positions there, multiple brands. But she worked at creating and managing content, establishing a growth angle by tapping into image SEO. So we can talk a little bit about that today. But developing, visual elements and editorial content. She's very well versed in a lot of those softwares that maybe you've heard of, Adobe Design Suite, and obviously how to do graphic design, creative messaging, a number of things. She's a graduate of both Kennesaw State University and was even a Navy Scholarship recipient at the University of South Carolina. So great background. And Chelsea and I were sharing some chatter before the podcast. We both have 3 little ones. So congratulations on that, Chelsea. We're going to be beating you out here in just another month. We're adding one more to the pack, but very cool that you're a mom of three little. So Chelsea, thanks for joining us. To get started, why don't you just talk a little bit about your path to everyday life insurance, some of the things that you've done, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So as you said earlier, I started building a community for a personal finance brand. And that was really kind of my grassroots into marketing. And I learned very quickly how important it is for your audience to really connect to a brand and doing that in a way that really speaks to them and having a synergy across not only your social media platforms, but the way your brand message speaks to them in your website and in your email marketing, and this really omni-channel approach and having that messaging very cohesive is essential. And so I worked my way up for about 5 years with that one brand, and then found a really great opportunity to take a step into another industry, life insurance, and that's where I started with Everyday Life. And it's been an exciting and amazing journey, and I've learned so much.
Yeah, Everyday Life is very interesting, that we've seen their presence on Best Company and just online in general. And it's interesting that it's, I wouldn't say it's too crowded of a space, but there's some big hitters out there, and you guys have kind of entered the market and, just talking before the podcast, done some great things right off the bat. What has that been like, kind of entering a market where, like I said, some heavy hitters out there, maybe some challenges there? What's that been like?
Yeah, we've had the biggest challenge is being a small brand fish in a big ocean of big fish, competing with the likes of Policy Genius and Ethos Life and Haven Life. It's difficult to stand out as a not as easily recognized brand to consumers in general. And then also being able to compete with them in some of the paid spaces is very different. They have massive amounts of budgets where they can support really large CACs, and we just weren't there. So we had to get really creative and really scrappy and go find the corners of the market where they weren't. And we successfully found a really great and engaged community in TikTok, an organic TikTok, no less. We put in some paid social ads in that space as well, but our organic growth there has been exceptional. And that's where our audience is, and that's where we headed in. We grew 10,000 followers in less than 3 months and over 2 million views now. So it was a really great opportunity, and that's an important thing in marketing, especially when you're such a small company. Finding where the other guys aren't. Guys and gals, I should say.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, Chelsea. And for those of you listening, just to reach 2 million views, you think about the cost of an impression for those of you advertisers out there. It could cost $100 to get 1,000 impressions. And so to get 2 million views of these videos that are, and my question leading into that is, Chelsea, what's been how do you decide what type of content to put out there? You can kind of start to understand the audience, TikTok, things like that, but how do you decide on extremely educational, maybe a little bit more brand awareness type? Like what's the process to decide the types of content that you
Well,
put
our
out there?
first aim was to build that top of funnel brand awareness. And TikTok's it's a great space for educating people. But we found that going straight into kind of like the hard sell of like immediately talking about life insurance wasn't really that successful. People kind of they want to be entertained. They want to be educated in an entertaining way. So we kind of took this backdoor approach to engaging our audience by asking questions that start to get them thinking about needing something like life insurance. We have this like man on the street style. So we have creators go up to just random people and ask them, what would you leave behind if you left this earth today? What would you leave behind? So getting people to think about it's provocative, and people are really responsive to that, and they really appreciate some of like the sage wisdom advice that the older interviewees give. It's been really exceptional, and the comments we get from people are like, we love this page. It really gets them thinking.
That's fascinating. You mentioned creators. Are these people you have on your team? Or have you reached out to some of like actual content creators to collaborate with? What's that been like?
We hired a video production company to work with us and build this video strategy. And they are the ones who, have a database of people that they hire out or that they tell to go interview folks.
Awesome. Talk to us a little bit, Chelsea, about omni-channel. I think maybe some seasoned veterans might understand what that is. Walk us through kind of the approach of omni-channel. Obviously, you mentioned TikTok and finding a lot of success there. I'm sure you are repurposing a lot of that content. It's going on YouTube, other channels, things like that. What's your omni-channel strategy look like?
Yeah, so we take a lot of that video content and we distribute it across some of our other social platforms, specifically Instagram Reels, which I'm sure a lot of people are very familiar with that as well.
Sure.
But bringing your audience into your ecosystem isn't enough. Once you bring them to your website, what happens then? If they don't take an action, is there any remarketing that happens? Is there a nurture program for people who subscribe or sign up or take a look at your service and then kind of drop out of the funnel? So what we've built is these email drip campaigns, so that once we get a person's contact, we can start kind of educating them through our email service, and guide them toward making a life insurance decision that works for them. So we try not to do too much of like the hard sell, like you need life insurance. This is exactly what your product, this is the product you should get. We really try to educate them and provide a lot of transparency into the life insurance industry as a whole.
When you think about acquiring a new customer, how does TikTok, and you can gain followers, or is there a way that they can, it's a link out situation and you can kind of craft that customer journey essentially? What is that, how does that work on TikTok?
Well, we have the link in bio option as well, but you have to be a little creative about how you measure those KPIs. We track our branded search in Google, and we notice that when we have like these really big viral videos, we see an X% of spike in our branded search, so that we know people are moving from the platform. They're interested in what we're having or what we're talking about, and they're coming to our site, and we're able to see that. So it is a little bit of a mix of having that organic presence and then also targeting them with ads.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that using engagement on TikTok and then kind of judging how you want to target with your paid ad strategy. I think that's killer, and one that is a hard one to master. So very cool that you guys are doing that. What about building a reputation? We talked a lot about the content that's resonating with your audience. What about building a trusted reputation? I think life insurance is one where there's probably some price shoppers out there that may not be so concerned about a logo, a brand. But there's a lot when it has to do with your, not to sound too cliche, but your life. What are some things that you've kind of done to social proof your business, build kind of a brand around trust? What's been that approach for you guys?
Social proof is really important. You know, life insurance is a high consideration category. People aren't just like, what am I going to go buy today? Life insurance, sure. Like, no, they think about it. They're researching it. They're wanting the best company. You're going to be paying X dollars a month for 30 years. You want to make sure that that company's going to be around for a while. So there's a lot of thought and a lot of research that the majority of people put into looking for a life insurance product. So one of the things that we do is we're really big on reviews. We highlight that. We highlight our customer testimonials. We're in contact with our customers constantly through email. And then also we have a backing of the Financial Health Network. So our mission is really to serve the middle income Americans that have found getting affordable quality coverage to be kind of an elusive task. It's amazing. Limra is a company. They put out this annual insurance barometer report, and there's a record high number of consumers who are looking to buy life insurance. And it's the most shocking thing is that almost half of them have delayed that purchase even though they know they need it. So why would people who know that they need coverage to prevent financial struggles that would undoubtedly ensue should any of, an income earner in their household die, why would they put off such an important task? And the answer is that the market isn't really designed to fit the needs of the majority of Americans. And so that's really where we've tried to come in and be distinguishing with our messaging, and with showing the consumers that we serve.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, I have had life insurance for a number of years now, but I remember when my wife and I would just keep saying, yeah, we should probably get that now that we even have kids. And it just being kind of a challenge. There's not just like you think about how brands work within an industry, and I just, I didn't go to Farmers, or I didn't, these like really big, there's not like a direct line you go through. I mean, you mentioned Policy Genius, but like in everyday life here, that's kind of the more brands that you start getting associated with as you're searching online and things like that. And so I think that's great. Utilizing the reviews, being really tight with your happy their experiences out. I think that's really beneficial. I mean, yeah, our process was fairly bizarre. Even we tried doing like one of those where I did like a fitness test. My wife, I have this video of me doing push-ups that my wife just loves because I'm trying to fit 50 push-ups in like a certain amount of time, and I think I got, I send it in. Hey, you're like literally hey, your butt was up. Doesn't count. Like oh my gosh. So I totally resonate with like, hey, for the majority of consumers, there's no fit currently for them. So I love that you're building a more natural fit there. What are some of those things that you feel like differentiates everyday life insurance from some competitors out there around customer acquisition, maybe the actual experience once you kind of identify someone as an opportunity, you're working with them? How is that different from maybe some competitors?
Our objectivity is what makes us stand out among almost every single, if not every single other life insurance company on the market today. We have no bias towards one product or another aside from providing our consumers with the absolute best option for their specific needs. Everybody's life is completely unique. Their needs are unique. And going to a company like Policy Genius, where you put in 5 to 10 things about yourself and they give you a list of quotes and say, these are policies that you could do. One, you have to get on the phone. You immediately have to start talking to an insurance broker. And the idea that any of those quotes are in the ballpark of accurate of what you would actually pay is pretty slim, because they don't know enough about you. And you're likely to be denied. And people don't realize how difficult it is to get approved for life insurance until they've been denied. And then once that goes on your record, it's really difficult to qualify in the future. So we go through an extraneous process. It's not extraneous for the user. They go into our ultimate life insurance calculator, put in the information, and then our advanced machine learning technology does all of like the work in the back end, and then pre-qualifies them for a policy that they are likely to get approved for at the price that they've been quoted. So that's something that we've learned too, like you said about the fitness tests and like these no medical exams. You know, almost half of the Americans in the study that Limra did said that they would be more likely to buy life insurance if it had a simpler underwriting process. People are busy, they don't want to do the medical
Yeah.
exams, it's difficult. So trying to cut through all of that clutter is difficult when you're going to a service like Ethos Life, who they're basically trying to approve you for the policy that makes them the most money. And it's really difficult to find out if it's actually almost impossible for you to find out if that's the one you got or if there was a cheaper option for you. They're incentivized to provide you with a recommendation that's better for them. No, they're not fiduciary. There's nothing fiduciary about the life insurance industry, which is where we try to stand out.
Yeah, I mean, we call that pay to play, and it's tough. You know, there's a lot of groups that you might find just like that, and something that as well, best company, we avoid the pay to play, and that's a real, like, we want the customer experience to really designate who we think might be the best fit for someone as well. So I love that this is the rhetoric with you guys at Everyday Life Insurance. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and just the process there, you know, you immediately have to talk to someone. Again, when I was doing those push-ups, I think I still ended up doing the push-ups fine. So, but, you know, if I had completed, yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm trying to hide my lower half here, but no, I'm in shape enough. I should have been able to complete the task. But I just asked, like, hey, if I had, like, completed that, like, how much of a discount would I have gotten? And he kind of was pretty straight with me actually over the phone and was just like, yeah, that's not even really a big thing to get discounts. So it's a lot of kind of smoke and mirrors, a lot of, like, you know, how can we, so I think you guys are really taking a good approach. And I feel like TikTok, you know, just to kind of circle back to that platform, a lot of transparency on that platform, like, right, you know, a lot of just true. So I think that's a perfect place to be creating the content that you are there. I think that's going to be great for you guys. I think one question that groups might be thinking, just talking to you, is like, what you said social proof is so important. How have you kind of made sure that wherever your customers might be landing, TikTok, a Google search online, bestcompany.com, your Google My Business, your website, like how have you tried to make sure that there is that social proof at each one of those points, which, you know, using Best Company's tools, probably a part of that, but like what's been your strategy there to make sure at each touch point it's social proofed and ready for a consumer to?
We highlight our reviews in every facet of our marketing. It's prevalent on the website. We direct people to our social platforms regularly. There's multiple touch points where we're like, go check us out on TikTok. Go follow us on Instagram. Like, our aim is not just to provide you with a good life insurance policy. We really want to educate you and show you what a smart decision is. And if you're not sure yet, like, let us hang with us.
Yeah.
We'll guide you through the process. There's no rush. Just we're here with you. So really trying to make sure that all through the process, they're able to access us. I call it like our ecosystem. We really want to keep you in our ecosystem, whether you're hanging out with us on TikTok or you're coming to the website or you're following us on Facebook or Instagram, making sure that you have access to that information.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Chelsea, congrats on, you know, really social proofing this business. Obviously a relatively newer role for you, but clearly found a lot of success on a platform like TikTok. I think it's great for those listening, and I think it's an important subject. There will be people listening from solar installers, roofing, pest control, and then life insurance. And there's so many different categories and people that might be, you know, watching the Best Company podcast. Do you feel like there's some concepts that are translatable to a number of those industries that you kind of identified in this niche? I think it's important to kind of really focus on your niche, but what is something that you might be able to share that might benefit the group of people, you know, that's something that people could start doing now to kind of level up their marketing and reputation efforts?
It sounds so cliche, but like authenticity and transparency, but it really is. Like, there's so much noise.
No, makes sense. Yeah.
On social media in particular, and sometimes it's so hard. Like, is this bot content? Is this sponsored? Like, are you feeding me a line of junk because you make money doing this, or are you really trying to teach me something? And keep it engaging. It can be so easy to get on TikTok and just talk at people. Making sure that your content is entertaining as well as educational is really key, but also finding what works for you and for your specific audience. That's the most important. And that takes testing, it takes time, and it takes playing. And there's nothing wrong with running some tests and creating content and it falling flat on its face. Not every video of ours goes viral. So there's no such thing as failure. You've just found a video not to make again.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it hurt a little bit because I know the content we put on TikTok has mainly been us talking. So that, like, I'm taking notes. We're gonna get a little bit more creative on there for sure. And that's great feedback. Authenticity. I think one of my favorite marketing campaigns of all time has been the United States National Parks, where they took like the worst reviews, I think from Yelp, and put them on posters because they were so. I mean, when would you ever share a negative review? I mean, it's just because they were so. Like for the Grand Canyon, it was like, yeah, not that grand, not that great. And you're just like, are you kidding? So it's just, I think authenticity is great. People get worried when they get a negative review. No, follow up with that negative review. Make sure to have a response, share a phone number that, hey, address it. Here's a direct line to our customer experience team. We're going to fix this for you. Those types of things I think actually help. Whereas you run into a Google My Business for a company that has 100 reviews and they're all 5 stars. It's like, I've been saying this a lot to, customers of Best Company. It's like, that's a friends and family barbecue event where they were handing around one iPad and everyone's just doing reviews, right? I mean, it's like consumers are understanding that more and more. So I love the plug for authenticity. I love the plug for, finding your audience and what they want to hear. And obviously educational content is really always going to be king there. So Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. Excited for everyday life insurance. They have a profile up on bestcompany.com with a link that you can learn more and go to their website. And then great insights as far as marketing
Thanks
and
so
building
much
your
for having me.
reputation
This was
online.
great.
So thank you. Okay, Chelsea, we'll see ya.